If you're like most woodworkers, cutting plywood sheets is one of the most dreaded jobs. Due to its size, it can be dangerous to cut on the average table saw. There are specialized tools such as panel saws or track saws that can be used safely, but are often too expensive and are designed specifically just for cutting sheet goods. Many big box stores, such as Home Depot or Lowe's, will cut the sheet goods but don't count on those cuts being clean or accurate. For many years, I've used the Festool track saw cutting system. It works great, but it's not an option for many woodworkers due to its high cost. Today I'm going to show you how to build a sheet goods cutting system that can be made from plywood scraps, and it'll give you a similar quality and accuracy of a track saw.
The cutting system is built from 3/4 inch plywood, which is used for the fence and edge guide. The fence is attached to the edge guide by 6 1 5/8 inch wood screws. The edge guide is made from 2 glued pieces of 3/4 inch plywood. A 1/4 inch piece of plywood is used as a zero clearance plate, which will be mounted to the circular saw sole plate. All of the parts can be made from plywood scraps. The dimensions I used are shown, but they can be changed to suit your needs. To ensure the overall accuracy of the cutting system, I recommend that at least one edge of the fence and edge guide remain the factory cut edge. Mark these edges because we'll refer back to these when we begin to build the system. Let's get started by making the edge guide. The 2 pieces are cut from the same dimensions as previously shown. Next, we'll glue the 2 pieces together. It's important to note that when gluing the pieces together, leave one of the factory edges proud by approximately 1/16 of an inch. This will be the referencing edge when it gets assembled to the fence. Next, let's make the zero clearance plate. This plate will help eliminate cross-grain chip out. For this video, I'll be making a zero clearance plate for the Dewalt 20-volt cordless circular saw, but any circular saw can be used. To get started, place the saw on top of the 1/4 inch plywood sheet and mark the outline of the sole plate. Next, cut on or inside of the pencil mark. The zero clearance plate should have a slightly smaller footprint when compared to the saw sole plate. This will ensure that the sole plate, not the zero clearance plate, will ride against the fence when making a cut. Next, the hole locations will be marked, which will allow the zero clearance plate to be mounted to the saw sole plate. Sole plates will differ between manufacturers, but for my case, I was able to use one existing hole location. The second hole location had to be drilled on my saw sole plate. 2 mounting hole locations should be enough for mounting the zero clearance plate. With the holes marked, each hole location is drilled. Each hole has a different diameter due to the different size screws which are used to secure the zero clearance plate to the saw sole plate. Both holes will need to be countersunk, which allows the head of the screw to be flush with the bottom of the zero clearance plate. With the plate installed, it's time to cut the zero clearance slot into the plate. For this step, I recommend clamping the sole plate to a sturdy surface. This step will allow the blade to be safely plunged into the plate. The last step is to lightly sand the edges and around the blade slot. The plate is waxed with several coats of paste wax, which will give it a smooth surface. The next step is to install the fence to the edge guide. Since this step is critical to the accuracy of the cutting system, we first must ensure that the fence is 90 degrees to the edge guide. For this step, we will use an uncut sheet of plywood that must be square on all corners. This can be checked by first measuring the diagonal length from each corner and ensuring each measurement is the same. The second step is measuring the width of the sheet at each end and verifying each measurement is equal. With these quick steps, we know that the sheet can be used as an accurate reference. In order to have the fence properly aligned, we will first measure and mark from the shortest side on each edge of the board. I use a measurement of 24 inches. With both marks made, take the fence and place the factory cut edge to the pencil marks. Take your time and make sure the board is right on the marks. With the fence in place, clamp both sides so that it'll stay in place. Next, take the edge guide and place the factory edge against the edge of the board. Make sure it is snug and clamp it to the fence. Drill the 6 hole locations for the 1 5/8 inch wood screws. Install the wood screws and make sure they are countersunk into the fence. With the assembly completed, we will cut the saw kerf groove into the edge guide. Set the depth of the cut so that one tooth of the blade is below the cut. Next, make the cut on a scrap piece of plywood since we were only cutting to create the groove in the edge guide. Place the cutting system on the board being cut so that the saw blade groove on the edge guide lines up to the pencil mark. To verify that the fence is aligned to both pencil marks, use a ruler to make sure that the measurements from each side are the same. If the measurements are different, then make sure the edge guide is tight to the edge of the board being cut. Once the cutting system has been verified to be accurate, then you don't have to verify your measurement for future cuts. Place a clamp at each end of the fence to ensure that it doesn't move while making the cut. Now we're ready to make our first cut. With the cut completed, we will verify the accuracy of the cut. Taking the measurements from both ends of the board, we see that they are equal. This proves that the cutting system is cutting correctly. Next, let's compare the quality of the cut of the track saw. For this comparison, we'll be using my Festool TS55 track saw. The track is aligned to the pencil marks, clamped in place, and the cut is made. Now let's compare the quality of both cuts. First, we'll look at the cut made by our cutting system. There seems to be some chip out on the edges. I believe that this is caused by two factors. One, the plywood that was cut is a low-cost shop-grade variety, which has a thin veneer. Second, the blade on my saw has a thin kerf blade, which is more prone to vibration when compared to wider kerf blades. Now let's look at the cut quality of the track saw. As you can see here, there appears to be some chip out as well. In all fairness, my track saw has an older blade and the track's anti-splinter guard is a bit worn. With a sharp blade and a new anti-splinter guard, the quality of the cut would be improved. In conclusion, this cutting system is cheap to make and the cut quality is acceptable. If you're on a tight budget, this cutting system may be the best solution to accurately and safely cut sheet goods. Thank you for watching and please subscribe. Visit woodworkingexplained.com for more information. As always, I appreciate your comments, and if you like, give the video a thumbs up.